Meta has surpassed Google's revenue, and this is something which is just blowing my mind away.
Revenue is coming from ads, so I think it makes logical sense for them to push it even higher. If you start opening your Demat account, if you start looking for how I can invest in US market, right?
And Meta is at somewhere around 29,000 crores in last year's ad revenue in India.
The most interesting part is all of the sales which is coming from brand search on Instamart in next 12 to 18 months. That's what the OpenAI target is from ad revenue.
Diwali CPMs are going to increase, let's say, in the build up of the first 30 days.
The ad might be appearing with no hit to my friend Gary Minathi.
These discussions about brand awareness and conversions, we missed one platform, and I think that is Amazon. As I think it's just not that we missed it. And I think in a race, Meta and Google also missed it.
And मतलब कोई बात नहीं कर रहा, but it's creating huge impact.
Huge impact. Now, I think I was reading the numbers, and they were doing almost $24-25 billion in ad revenue, and then that's what the OpenAI was aiming for, right? So I think in sheer volume, in sheer numbers, they are doing pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I'm forgetting which year, maybe 2 years, 3 years back, they had already surpassed YouTube's revenue, by the way, which is a huge thing. Which basically means your anyway conversion ad spends is always higher than your brand spends, right? So they are taking away a lot of spends on that platform. I think it has its own nuances. Advertisers don't see it in a way that it is contributing to the brand, but they also have a lot of brand inventories. I think I would want you to talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, I think, brand inventories, they have MX here, they have Prime Video, they have their own DSP platform, right? So all of these things are contributing to their ad revenue. They are not just dependent on Amazon.com or Amazon.in ads. Yeah, right. I was talking to one of our rep in Amazon, and they are pitching ad slots within their Amazon Prime TV shows. Right. So they are expanding their ad revenue or ad portfolio by bigger margins. And that also tells you a story of their growth as well. Because their numbers in last year, the growth is 23%. Again, double their Google and as good as Meta.
Yeah.
Like, and I think this is because they are offering a lot of variety. They are offering display ads, they are offering DSP, they are offering Amazon Prime ads, and they are also offering MX Layer ads. In terms of inventory, it's a mix of OTT, it's a mix of a bit of YouTube Shorts kind of ads, and display from Google, search from Google. So I think in terms of ad products, the portfolio is diversified. It's very well established. It's not as refined as Meta and Google, but it works.
It was, and particularly there is also very underutilized product from them. So there is a sponsored brand ads. Its placements are very Amazon specific. But what I've seen is it does create a lift in the searches. I've seen it in practice with certain brands. I feel that's again a product a lot of brand can use. So the mentality when you go on Amazon is that you may ad become and I'll get sales. But that's one particular product I still feel again underutilized, underspent.
And I think Amazon team is very aggressive about their ads as well. They are pushing it very aggressively. They are selling it very well, right? And I think one of the reasons they are selling it very well is because of their numbers. Their total revenue is $68 billion on Amazon as an ecosystem, Amazon.com. And ad revenue is what, 24-25 billion.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's true.
So 1/3 of the total revenue is coming from ads. So I think it makes logical sense for them to push it even higher.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There is a product from Meta which is called Meta Moment Maker. So it allows you to advertise on freemium placements on Meta. Now, it's unlike like other reel placements which you do. Interesting thing is what you can do is you can select, let's say, 4 or 5 particular videos in a series. For instance, if you have a skincare brand, it doesn't need to be about the product. First of all, it's top of the funnel campaign. So you can create series of reels which talk about, let's say, what is damaging your skin at home or things that you're eating damaging your skin. So there's a series of reels. Now, when you do this or use this particular product in a short burst of time, which is let's say 3 to 7 days or maybe 10 days, what really happens is there is a uplift in the brand. And this is one study which I feel will be done by a lot of brands in the years to come, in the months to come. In fact, that's something which I'm already pitching to a lot of people. So if you're listening to this, talk to me about this. Point I was trying to make in the larger senses, although these platforms have been seen as a channel where you can spend, get conversion, get leads, get sales, but these platforms have not been deployed extensively for top of the funnel campaigns as much as we think, and that trend is going to change, especially the more the CPMs for conversion are going to get high. And I recommend, as I said already, that 8 to 12% of the budget, even right now, should begin going on brand campaigns, if not more.
I agree with your point that 8 to 10%, maybe 12% of the budget should be spent on brand awareness and on top of the funnel. But my problem with that is that they are not able to keep it up. They spend a month or a quarter, and then they will stop. And branding is a long-term affair. It's like marriage. You have to stay invested, right?
Yeah, true.
Right. So I think in terms of brand awareness campaigns, yes, it should be there. But one thing they need to keep in mind, that brand awareness campaigns are not a quarter's problem or a 6 months problem. You have to keep invested, even if it is 10% of your total ad budget.
So this realization is going to come, I think, anytime soon. The trend is already changing, I feel, and the key here is, as you said, like stay invested. You would stay invested in marriage.
Yeah, and I think rising CPM plays a bigger role, because rising CPM for conversion ads, ultimately brands will realize that if they spend more money on brand awareness, the ROI will be much better than spending on the conversion campaign. It will be, as you said, maybe 90-10 mix or a 20-80 mix, but definitely there has to be some spends for brand awareness. But I think we talked about Meta Movement Maker. I just want to ask, is there similar product from Google as well?
So there is one product from Google called VRC, Video Reach Campaign. Again, so interesting thing is it allows you to book like specific inventories in advance. Now what it does is, first of all, you are very confident about that your CPMs are blocked. Now let's say if you have not logged your CPMs, what does it really mean? So let's say when IPL is starting, first 3 to 4 days or at least 7 days, the CPMs are going to be huge almost on all the platforms. If it's Diwali, CPMs are going to increase, let's say, in the build-up of the first 30 days. However, if you have already booked those specific slots, your CPMs are locked, you're not going to spend a lot more. That's number one. Secondly, you have completely like gotten out of that race of fluctuating CPMs. If let's say a certain day it goes high, you're still protected. If certainly 10 other advertisers in your industry come up, you're still protected. And thirdly, you can be always assured that your ads are reaching at the right places. I mean, right now, even if you are advertising, there is no brand protection, right? For all we know that your ad might be appearing with no hate to my friend Kerry Minati, but it might be coming just after his video, right? You want to be ensuring that it is coming at the right places where the brand actually makes sense. So YouTube has that one particular product, and you can again do brandless study with it, which gives you insight into the creatives which you're deploying in it, whether it is actually creating the impact or not. ChatGPT has recently announced that it's going to come up with its app on ad platform. They did a study, I think within 6 weeks, they did a $100 million annualized revenue projection. And that test, I think, was done with a very small audience. And in the United States itself, I think the possibilities are endless. So do you think that is going to be a mainstream, or there is a potential there at least?
I mean, 100 million in itself is a big number. But I think the biggest surprise is what they are targeting. They are targeting $25 billion in ad revenue. So that's what they want to achieve. And in some, if I have to give you context, so it's 10% of what Meta and Google is doing right now. So 10% of their market share in next 12 to 18 months, that's what the OpenAI target is from ad revenue. So they are very aggressive about it. And I think that they need to be, the kind of money they are spending to do all these prompts for free, they need to capitalize that. So in terms of how much they will be succeeding in that, I think that's something we have to see. Yeah. But if they are able to crack the conversion event, I mean, I think a lot of platforms try that. Twitter, which is now X, they were not able to do so. Snapchat struggled a lot. But if they are able to crack that intent, that if they are able to try those conversions, then definitely $25 billion number will be reached.
If you look at how the consumer, I think, search for the product is changing, it's of course going to be the key. And people are trying to solve this, let's say, organically. How do we get our brand to be like available in ChatGPT search queries? But I still feel the only solution to that is ads, right? So people start searching for products, queries, services on the platform. organic is only so much that you can do, right? And the number of course, the placements is also lesser. So ChatGPT is coming with ads. I had a first look. Like the ads actually come at the bottom of the chat, and there's only one placement from what I could figure out. So there's no shopping ads kind of, so that I can scroll through the products. Maybe those products may come later, but I feel the possibilities are endless in the sense that there are so many places in the interface where the ads can be placed. Right, it can be placed when you're shifting from one chat to another. It can be placed, let's say, on the right side of the screen. It can be placed within the text itself. I don't know how it's going to be, but I think the possibilities are so endless that maybe 5 years down the line, when we talk about India land, we'll be thinking how we can allocate at least 20% of our budget to charity.
We will see. I mean, I think I am optimistic. I am in line with the OpenAI target. Yes, it is achievable, but as I said, that we need to see how much they are able to, track that convergence.
Yeah.
If the intent is there.
Yeah. Correct.
I think we all see Snapchat struggling. We all see X struggled. We all see Reddit struggle to some extent. All those platforms were not that great. So we have to see how much OpenAI will, or how they will come up with their platform.
Yeah.
So I think adoption and conversion will make a huge difference. If that is not there, then I think the bigger numbers will not be there.
And there is one major shift happening. We have also talked about in the past. A lot of commerce ad spends is actually going to commerce. It's going to Zepto, it's going to Blinkit, Instamart, and that's another challenge. But I think that's also solved by Google and Meta. Would you like to mention a few points, Steph?
Yeah, definitely. I think the growing need is to deliver the product as fast as possible. And I think it is a unique case where we have Blinkit and Zepto and Swiggy doing that. So to achieve that how the discoverability also happens, Meta has successfully partnered with all these platforms. And same is the case with Google. So now you can run your ads on Meta, on Google, and directly track your conversions on Blinkit, and
This attribution is in the dashboard.
attribution is in the dashboard. So this was not possible, I think, 3 to 6 months back. It's a very decent product. And I think Meta is very cautious about it when they are pushing it out. They are only partnering with agencies as of now, right? And Google is also very cautious about it. Google launched with Blinkit now, right? So all the shopping ads we can see. So the shopping ads you can notice Instamart is there in the early days. Instamart Blinkit ads. So you can do that with the help of Google now, right? It's a bit of manual process to set it up. There is a learning curve to it. You need a professional help, but it is very much possible to drive results on these quick commerce with the help of Meta and Google ads.
Yeah. And again, the problem I think Google and Meta is solving here is when I'm searching for a product on Blinkit, I'm again at their disposal. And I think I still feel the ad ecosystem is not great there. Like sometimes I don't even see that ad mark at the top of the product. But when I'm searching it on Google and Meta, one thing I'm solving for is earlier they were taking me to marketplaces or the websites where I would get this product in let's say 5 to 7 days. Now they are also assisting me to find product which I can wait in like 10 minutes. So that's a pretty quick. And with that, I think they are also taking some of the money which was going to these platforms back to them.
Yeah, I think on Google must have taken a note. So what is happening right now is a lot of DTC brands, they are pushing more than 5%, around 15 to 20% of their overall volume to these quick commerce companies. So Meta and Google must have realized that we need that ad revenue. Yeah, right. So we need that ad value back to our ecosystem, and that's how they came up with this product. It's a fantastic product. I mean, it's a win-win situation for the consumer who needs the discoverability, win-win product for the business also. But yes, that ad revenue will be shifted back to Meta and Google, and in some way, it will also do a service or will help quick commerce, because their ad platforms were not that great. They were building from scratch, right? The tags and the experience was, to be honest, below average. So it's a win-win. I would say in the economic we call it double handshake. So it's a double handshake for everyone.
Yeah, that's true. I still feel brands have a reservation to it because everyone is assuming that the moment you list your products on Blinkit, Zepto, Instamart, you're going to get sales. But it's not the case. Even there, the competition is ramping up. I had predicted 1-2 years back that even these platforms will come with their own labels, and we're seeing that it's happening in real time. All of them are coming up. So the competition going to high. The only way you can still solve for this is by investing in either performance marketing channels which drive traffic outside of Blinkit and Instamart. You still need to invest in brand. So unless you are doing that, there's no person who's going to come and buy a product just out of nowhere. Oh, by the way, I was talking to someone 2 days back, and they started I think 6-7 months back, and they have built a top line of somewhere around 15 lakhs per month, out of which 30 to 40% of their revenue is coming from these channels. But the most interesting part is all of the sales which is coming from brand search on Instamart and Blinkit. So basically, the customer did not find them on this platform; they found them somewhere else. And I think that's a very unique thing about trying to sell on these platforms.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the long term, you have to build that brand.
Yeah.
If the brand is not there, ultimately you will be copied and you will be dead. Yeah, right. And that's one reason then a person outside our ecosystem, marketing ecosystem, asked and wondered that why Coca-Cola is running an ad. Right. I think a month back, someone from my family asked that why SBI is running a campaign with MS Dhoni. Right. SBI को क्या ज़रूरत है?
Yeah.
Because I mean, to make a brand, you have to be consistent with your messaging. You have to be consistently showing your face to the consumer that and screaming, yes, I am here, I'm offering this. And unless or until you do that, the brand will not be there. And unless the brand will not be there, somebody will come up with a white label product and eat your market share.
There's one product which came. I just want to bring into the conversation. I still feel a lot of audience, if you're listening to this, don't know about it. Is demand it? I mean, I think that's one particular product which Google came up with, which replicates Meta in a way, right? So now there is no layer of trying to do the placements. It allows you to advertise on YouTube and display at the same time. Plus the possibilities are endless. So we have cracked it, we know for tech, but just now I was discussing with someone that it's also coming in feeds. So that basically you will be able to also deploy it for commerce platforms, right? And that's going to be, I think, a huge driver for growth if the product adoption is taken to escape. And I think agencies like us are going to be the key to that. Moving forward, since we're talking about commerce, what do you think are the other changes happening which will have an impact in next 1 or 2 years?
I think specifically in terms of product, I feel Meta is very well placed. Initially, it was all about, okay, it's a discovery platform, intent is not there. But I think that's no longer the case. Now, there is pretty much good intent on Meta. If you want to gift somebody, your girlfriend, your wife, a gift, pretty much you know that ad will appear on your feed and you will buy that product. Yeah. Or at least that's where the discoverability happens, or that's where the buying will happen. Yeah, right. So I think Meta is able to capture that very well. So for a CFO or a CMO, just want to point it out. It's no longer a top of the funnel platform. Yeah, it's pretty much middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel platform as well. When you start spending on Meta. Yeah, right. And I think on Google realized it later on, right? And I think primarily agencies are also at fault at this, that their dark horse, which you mentioned, is YouTube, right? People are not milking it enough. Yeah. If you milk it enough, then definitely the products like demand gen, products like video ads, they're exactly replicating Meta. Specifically for lead hit accounts, where the events or the purchase or the average value is not high. Like if you are doing a workshop, if you are running an ad tech platform, if you are running a fintech platform, if you are running a health tech platform, YouTube is your go-to platform. That you should be spending heavy on YouTube and demand gen. Yeah. So I think I'll give you an example like why that's the case. So once, let's say a fintech platform, if you start looking to invest in share market, if you start opening your demat account, if you start looking for how I can invest in US market, right? Pretty much everything starts from YouTube. You start watching the videos, that's accurate. You start watching content, right? Where I should invest, what should I do, what are the steps to it, right? So once you do that, that's where the brand should kitchen, because that's where the audience is. Yeah, right. So I think a lot of where edtech, health tech, fintech, these industry, they should take demand gen and YouTube seriously.
Exactly. As I said, it's an undersold product. I feel there is still a perception in industry that YouTube is for bigger brands. It's not the case. I feel if you are strategic enough, like you can get most out of your business with YouTube. And there are so many numerous secondary effects I have seen in practice. Like you start YouTube ads, and of course, even if it's for the bottom of the funnel or retargeting, you will see that the brand queries and brands are just skyrocket. I've seen jumps as high as 300% in there. And right in a very short amount of time, the recall is very high. Plus, if brand can invest a lot, they can also do like BA study, which I feel is great. Like it also tells you on the creative level whether what kind of communication you're doing is actually creating an impact for your business.
But I think it also depends. I mean, there is a way to do YouTube ads and demand gen. It's a little bit more technical than that.
In execution, it's not so straightforward.
Yes, you need a better strategy to execute. It's not that straightforward that okay, I have a static image and I can just push it on Advantage Plus campaign and not.
Just like it's not Advantage Plus.
Yes, it's not Advantage Plus. So you need a proper person, a strategist or an agency who will get that work done.
So moving forward, Nitin, I think I had made certain notes on this. I want to know from you what are the key takeaways that agencies and brands can take from order within 30-40 minute baat ke.
So I think there are multiple takeaways for agencies. I think one thing is clear. It's writing on the bond. If you position yourself or if you are doing just Meta, just Google or Meta and Google only, then the future will not be there for you, right? You need to diversify. Amazon is very well there. Quick commerce is there. You need to diversify your offerings, and that will not only benefit their ecosystem or agency balance sheets. That will eventually benefit the consumer, the brands, because they will be needing to diversify their ad spends. Like, I think that is one bigger, I would say, key takeaway that agencies can take.
Yeah. From my POV, I always say this to my clients as well. Spend in brand. And spending brand automatically means spending really good communication strategies. So both things go hand in hand. And I feel the spends naturally is going to increase on brand side on digital platforms, whether it is Amazon, whether it is Google or Meta. And if brands are not doing it, I think they should start moving in that direction. And there are products which Meta and Google offer specifically for brand uplift. I think that's something which brands should do.
Yeah, I think brands also need to take notes of what's happening around them in terms of not only the traditional buy-ins, the search ads, the Meta campaigns. Yeah, they also need to look at new products because that's where the ROI is, right? So they need to look at Meta Movement Maker, the M3 we talked about. They need to do BLS brand lift studies to see what kind of impact they are generating for their brand awareness campaigns. All right. They need to look at demand gen. They need to look at YouTube, because all these products they are not ancient as such campaigns, and they are delivering good results. And I think that's where the next buy-ins should be.
Yeah, that's true. Anything else, Nitin, before we close?
Or I think just one last thing. In terms of, I think we were talking about offline, we were talking about agencies of the future. Yes, I said so. It's a long discussion. We will do it in some other podcast. But I think the road of agencies of the future starts from diversifying your offerings and making your processes and team efficient enough to deliver those offerings within budget, so that ultimately the client can benefit.
And that's a perfect summary to end this thing, and that completely makes sense. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Meta has surpassed Google's revenue, and this is something which is just blowing my mind away. Although I know for a ground like why and how it has happened, but this is something I want to discuss today. What's happening in the advertising world, and this news is also important because this also kind of tells how the world is shifting its media plan and how it has happened in the last 20 years. Search, which was probably the most common form of digital advertising, it has been surpassed by social. So let's discuss this. What's your opinion on this? What's happening?
So I think let's discuss the numbers first. Right. So Meta is going to do somewhere around $243 billion this year, 2026, as ad revenue, and Google is going to do around $239 billion. So first, let that settle in, right? the sheer amount of money that they are doing in ad revenue. And now Meta is going to surpass Google marginally. Meta is at 26.52 and Google is at something around 26.2. So that's what the story of 2026 is in terms of ad revenue. Right. But I think it's primarily because Google's growth rate is nowhere near what Meta is doing in terms of growth. So Meta has been growing around 24% year on year, which is exactly more than double at 11.9% of Google's ad revenue growth. So in terms of, I would say, capturing the money on ads, Meta has been doing a fantastic job. So this was meant to happen. If not this year, then maybe next year.
Why do you think this has happened? I know for a fact that certain products might have contributed to it, which I will of course talk about. The second point is it's counterintuitive because to run meta ads there is a lot of logistics, or used to be a lot of logistics. You have to do creatives. That layer is not there in search. You just need to write text. Your ads is live. That is not there in meta ads. In meta ads, you have to like do very high quality creatives. In fact, the worse your creatives are, the worse the delivery is. So you have to get right on top of it. And how this shift has happened is something which is, I think, should be studied. But what are the pointers from in your opinion, which has contributed to this growth, specifically in the last 4, 5, 10 years?
I think multiple reasons. So first is that teams and individuals are now very comfortable creating content, whether it is static creatives or UGCs or reels. I think 5 years back, 10 years back, that was not the case. And creating content is now cheaper. Creating a static image is now much cheaper than it has ever been. Right. So that has contributed to Meta's adoption. Right. Because the cost of running those ads has actually came down. Second is the products. So I mean, Meta in itself, in its universe, it has Facebook, it has Instagram, it has WhatsApp, right? So the delivery platforms are very, I would say, distinctive. So at one platform, you have Facebook, where you can reach out to older generations, and then you have Instagram, where you can find your millennials, your Gen Z, and you have WhatsApp also, which is very different from what Google offers. Google is only offering their search platforms as well as YouTube, right? Which doesn't have that kind of distinction.
Right.
And third is, I think, more organizational problem. So I think Google in general is not good at creating products for micro and small enterprises. And I think Meta is really, really good at it. And that has also shown in their numbers as well. That's why the numbers are so good for Meta in terms of growth, more than double the growth of Google.
So basically, what you're saying is there has been a shift in how consumers were able to overcome those logistic challenges in terms of, let's say, creating statics, even creating reels. Now you can just do it with mobile and so on and so forth. In my opinion, there's one particular product which has also enabled the shift, specifically in the last 2 to 3 years, and that's Advantage Plus. I think that just made the adoption of the product extremely easy. Earlier, there were we are doing this since 2014, right? So I imagine at that time you have to be very specific about who you are targeting, where are you placing your ads, and even right now, when those new placements came, the challenge was you had to do creatives for all of these placements. Now the layer of Advantage Plus has kind of solved for it completely. Sometimes you also don't need these creative variations. Meta just fills it up with text. It just makes the whole ad ecosystem more smooth, and I think that's commendable from an organization like that. I mean, someone who has used in 2010, 2011 and 12 advertising platform of Meta, they might not be able to use it right now because so many changes has happened. But if they spend, I think, a day or two, a week, they should be able to like use the complete platform because they have made it so easy to run. And as you said, the creative layer completely came off. So that's adoption is, I think, driving the change. But one thing I still want to point out, the numbers that you shared was for global numbers.
Right.
In India, still like the advertising thing is Google.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Meta is still catching up there. The rate is extremely fast, I know. But I'm sure even in India, there are things, I think, which is in Meta's favor. What's your opinion?
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of absolute numbers, Google is doing much better. I think they are doing some 35,000 crores in ad revenue, and Meta is at somewhere around 29,000 crores in last year's ad revenue in India. But in terms of growth, again, the Meta India growth is even better than their global average.
What is that?
So in India, they are growing at 29% year on year, and at global average is 24 points on more. Right. So I think their growth in India is more than, I think, 20% better than the global average. That's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I mean, in India, Meta's adoption is even better than global, and I think the first and the foremost product working for them in India is WhatsApp.
Yes, that's true.
Because Indian audience, the way Indian audience use WhatsApp, I think no other country is using it like that.
I think I've been to last two Meta summits. So one was WhatsApp Business Summit, and the other was Agency Summit. I think WhatsApp is a product which Meta as an organization is pushing. Plus, it's also, I think, a product which India as a nation needs, because we don't have those layers of email. It needs a lot more literacy rate to adopt. And in the last conversation I had in Meta, I think that product is being adopted by governments as well to even take the services forward. I think Odisha government has adopted it. I know for a lot of brands who are making the whole shopping experience easy, that you can just chat through, even make a payment via that particular layer of WhatsApp API, and it just makes simpler for the audience in general to execute things. And I think even in the next 3 years, WhatsApp business conversation or business messaging is going to be the key to the growth.
I think WhatsApp is going to explode, and if that works, then Meta's growth will be untouchable, right? Because I mean, practically there is no alternative in India to WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a go-to platform to text anybody, apart from the official or work messaging apps, right? So I think if Meta cracks that, and they have been cracking that in multiple ways, if they are able to solve it for business, that how WhatsApp can contribute to your business, I think for lead gen, WhatsApp is doing amazing in terms of reminders that, okay, you have a podcast with us, you have a webinar with us, you have a workshop with us. All of that is now shifted to WhatsApp. Earlier it was email primarily, but now people are using WhatsApp even more than text messages or emails.
Yeah, that's correct. And so if I look at it from the India perspective, that is a product which India also needs, because the accessibility is very high, right? So if I have to talk about YouTube as a platform or search as a platform, even the trend is also changing. Like the micro content consumption has skyrocketed. YouTube Shorts came quite later into the journey. And then WhatsApp kind of platform makes everything easy. You can access the content there. One of the interesting changes which happened in the last 1 year is, so if you would click on, let's say, WhatsApp ad earlier, what happened is you would be taken to a browser. Now the browsing experience itself has come to WhatsApp. That solves a lot of things, because now you're not moving to any other app. So it's solved there. Secondly, I think it's completely number based. You don't need email. That is also helping you out. But largely, Meta's WhatsApp product is going to be even better, because the whole community is there, right? Earlier it was just people. Now businesses are moving there, governments are moving there. Now, in a way, every single entity of the nation is right there on the platform. But I still feel there are products which Google has, which is still unmatchable. Right? I just came off a call from someone before this particular podcast, and it's one of the largest education coaching center in India, and there is an arm which does global global education services. So I was talking to them. You'll be surprised, they've been running ads for like last 3-4 years. All of their ad spends is going to search ads and meta ads with the very normal statics. Of course, so they need a transformation right now. One of the things that I was like dumbfounded and I realized is they are not doing YouTube at all. But the fact is, in education services, 80% of the thing is happening before the search. So people are going to YouTube, they're checking, let's say they're checking what kind of, videos are there about it. Is there any particular guide? Is there a consultant talking about it? And by the time they're coming to search, they have already done the discovery. So my pitch, of course, was that you add YouTube layer, but I feel consumer behavior toward YouTube is such that you can't ignore it. And I feel the next growth of probably Google is going to come a lot from YouTube advertising itself. That platform, I think, is still undersold in India.
I think YouTube is basically, I think there is no atom to it in terms of how much you can spend on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think on Google you can
Which is there with search.
yes. I think on search you can spend couple of lakhs and you will hit that rock bottom where you will so that now I'm not able to spend anymore because I have exhausted my search queries.
Yes.
But I think in YouTube that's not the case. The sheer amount of time people spend on YouTube allows you to spend more and more on YouTube. The scale is endless. I mean, it seems endless once you start spending on it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 4-5 CR monthly easily be spent on YouTube if you are in a retail or if you are in FMCG or in a DTC brand where you have a large enough audience or a decent audience space.
Yeah.